Okay, I'm trying my very best not to get my hopes up too much for this, but I did just buy a ticket to Paul McCartney. Because I am poor and because I waited this long to buy tickets, the reason I waited this long is because I had a show that I was going to perform on the same day as Paul McCartney. It wound up getting canceled. I'd like to make a note to my fans who may be watching that no, I did not cancel the concert just to go to Paul McCartney. It got canceled, so I wound up buying tickets to Paul McCartney. I swear I value my own career more than going to other people's concerts. But the reason I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much is because I'm poor, so I bought cheap seats. $45 to see Paul McCartney is considered cheap, but it's because it is tower obstructed. It's obstructed view. So the last time I saw Paul McCartney, we were kind of behind the stage in obstructed view seating, and it turned out being one of the most amazing, in fact, it was the best deal on a concert ticket I've ever got, because like this, I spent $45, and I wound up about 6 rows up from the side of the stage. Really, the only thing that was actually obstructed was the view of the screens and the actual stage setup itself. We were my sister and I were 40 feet from Paul McCartney for the show. It was amazing. He waved at our section on his way in and out. It was fabulous, but this is different. This is all the way up in the back of the stadium, and it specifically says tower obstructed. I'm not going to be too surprised if we get very little view of the stage at all, but I figured $45 to be in the same room as Paul McCartney and at least hear 2 to 3 hours of his tunes, because that's how long he performs, sounds worth it to me. So we're going to go do that July 6th. Oh boy. I've only had this car for less than 2 months, and I'm already in getting it serviced. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with it. I've just already driven it so much that I have to do the scheduled maintenance. That's what taking it across BC will do for you, and Washington State. It's actually about exactly the same as what my old interval used to be delivering pizza. I put a lot of kilometers on the cars that I drive, that's for sure. So as a result, I have spent a lot of time in this building over the years. One thing I like about getting my car serviced is now it smells nice. Yay, it's got a refresh of that new car smell that has slowly gone away over the weeks of driving it around. Hooray! It's also clean. That's always good. At least the outside is clean. I'm a very messy person. Good news, I also just booked a last-minute concert for myself for tomorrow. I just got a message from someone who wants me to play for an hour at their block party out in Vancouver, so I'll do that tomorrow. That'll be fun. In the meantime, today, don't have a ton going on other than a bunch of local errands, and I'm going out to a party with some of my ex-co-workers from before I quit my job and became a full-time musician, so that's going to be fun. But today, I think what I'm going to do is go back through my record collection again, and today we're going to focus on 1966. What I've been doing is going through my rock and roll section and listening to not every album I have, but all the notable ones in the order that they came out from 1955, the start of my rock collection, all the way onward, and I've reached my way up to 1966, so let me show you some of the cool stuff that I have from that year. Firstly, I already showed you guys this one. I almost said Beach Boys, Jesus. Beatles, Revolver. Showed you that in the last video from the excellent box set, the stereo box set on vinyl that came out in 2012. Can't get enough of that. I have 2 Motown live albums to show you from 66. Temptations live, and also the Four Tops live. This gives me a cool way to show you the difference between the US pressings of Motown stuff and the Canadian ones. This Four Tops live one is a Canadian one, and the Temptations one is American. Temptations were on Gordy Records, and I know what you're thinking. Were the Temptations on Motown? Yeah, Gordy Records was a subsidiary of Motown. They had a bunch. They had Tamla Records. They had Soul Records. Gordy, Motown, a whole bunch of different ones, and they all had different labels that formed like a whole spectrum of color. The Gordy labels were on this beautiful purple. I love the old school Gordy Records labels. But in Canada, when Motown stuff was reissued in Canada, what they decided to do was take everything, regardless of what label it was on. This one would have been on a blue label Motown when it came out. And they just put them all on this lame black and white Tamla Motown. Every Motown-related release, I'm actually not touching the record itself. I just like to point that out, just the outer rim. Every Motown release or Motown-related release from between 1965 and 65 and 72 is on that really lame black and white Tamla Motown label that I've never liked very much. Beach Boys' Endless Summer. This one's not from 1966. It came out in 73, but the material on it was all released between 62 and 66, so I figured this would be a good time to listen to this one. One of my favorite, kind of underrated, nowadays at least, groups of the doo-wop era, Little Anthony and the Imperials. They had two waves of success. First of all, in the late 1950s, when they had hits like Tears on My Pillow, and they had Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Bop as well, which is not my favorite song. They broke up in 1961, got back together in 63, and had a whole nother ring of success. Perhaps even bigger success than they'd had the first time around. My favorite song they do is the incredible song, Hurt So Bad. They also had Going Out of My Head, which was a big hit for them at the time. I Miss You So. I also, speaking of things that I miss so, back in the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, when there were like a million little record labels, Little Anthony and the Imperials were on Veep Records. Nowadays, there's 3 major labels? Back in the day, there was a whole spectrum of record companies. There wasn't just Capitol, Columbia. There was no such thing as Universal yet. A whole bunch of different things. 1966 also saw the explosion of the Mamas and the Papas. Fun fact, when this album first came out, this yellow sticker wasn't here, and there was a toilet right there. In 1966, that didn't go well for censorship, and so a lot of stores refused to carry it just because there was a toilet on the front cover. So, for the second pressing, which this is, they put this yellow square that says, includes Monday Monday and California Dreaming. Just so the stores would carry it. Amazing that how much has changed in the last 53 years. Also, released by them that same year, you've got self-titled album, The Mamas and the Papas. Interestingly enough, despite the fact that this album is self-titled, it's not their first album, it's their second album. Also, speaking of them, I have 2 of their singles I'm going to play as part of the 1966. I don't know, I was going to call it a special, but if it's only me listening to it, I can't really call it a special, can I? You got Words of Love with Dancing in the Street. Not sure which one's the A side and which one's the B side. And then this one of my favorite Mamas and Papas songs of all time, I Saw Her Again, and Even If I Could. Like I said, millions of labels. They were on Dunhill back then. Oh, look where I bought this. I just did a special on Seattle and Pike Place Market, and that's where I got these. Not on this recent trip. This was the last time I was down in Pike Place last year, but I sure got some good stuff. Hits of the Dave Clark 5. Not a huge Dave Clark 5 fan. This is the only album I have of theirs. Still good. And you gotta love that song, Glad All Over. Feeling glad all over. Very fun. I have more Motown, specifically 2 Supremes albums. First of all, the Supremes A Go-Go. This is the year after the Miracles released Going to A Go-Go, so I guess Motown was on a whole go-go craze. And then I also have I Hear a Symphony. I forget why, but I don't have the external cover for this. I think what I did was I bought a separate album, opened it up, and found out that the wrong album was inside and it was I Hear a Symphony. But at least I have I Hear a Symphony. Simon and Garfunkel, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. I can't speak English today. This is the one with Feeling Groovy on it, and it's also got Homeward Bound, of course. Yeah, big hit album. And then one of the most revered albums of all time. I believe Rolling Stone magazine listed this as the number 2 album of all time. It's the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. This is a new issuing of Pet Sounds. I believe it's in stereo. Let me check. I can't tell if this is stereo or not. Maybe they did it mono, but look, so this is new. This is like 5 years old now, but new compared to how old the album is. They even included a reproduction of the original Capital 66 lineup, which would have been the generic insert that they would have put with the album with it when it first comes out. It's little details like this that I love. And then, of course, they did a replication of the original, my favorite centering label of all time, the Capitol Rainbow. Nothing quite like the Capitol Rainbow. I believe Capitol is one of those few record labels that still is around to this day. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments there. And then the last thing I'm going to play for my looking back on 1966, Beach Boys. Again, this is perhaps their most famous song of all time, Good Vibrations. And for the B-side, they included Let's Go Away for a While, which is on the Pet Sounds album, I think. Yeah, Let's Go Away for a While from the Pet Sounds album. Capitol was one of those record labels that had a different label. These are from the same era. Well, this one's a reproduction, but made to look like the original era. For LPs, they put that rainbow. And for CDs, they put... CDs. Wow, I am having a real trouble with the English language today. And singles, rather, they have this weird wave effect, which I kind of like, the wave swirl. These are same era, different label designs for the LPs as the singles. Because I'm a huge dork, I'll probably someday do a video on label variations, but I don't know, that's pretty dorky, but I like to research stuff like that. Anyway, so that'll about do it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Tomorrow, like I said, we got that fun gig in Vancouver, so bring you guys with me. And film a vlog episode from there as well. Check out my videos from Seattle. I just spent 2 days in Seattle, and I broke it up into 4 vlogs, and I uploaded them all today. It took me like 3-4 hours to upload, or not to upload all of it, but to edit all of it. So that was quite a process, so check it out, make it worth my time. Thanks so much for watching. For those of you who don't know, I'm also a professional musician, like I said, so you can check out a link to all of my upcoming tour dates in the description, and also wherever you can find my music where it's sold or streamed online. Subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, which will be tomorrow and every day for the foreseeable future. Like this video if you liked what you saw. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Thank you.